As always, folks, welcome back to the Code Chronicles. It's your lovely host, Pags. Guys, welcome back. Welcome back. There has been a ton of stuff happening behind the scenes. Last episode, we celebrated 10,000 views. Guys, thank you so much. I'm honestly humbled by it. And I know it's like not a lot. Like there's people getting millions of views and tons of stuff. But for me, that was really huge. So thank you so much. I've been doing a ton of stuff behind the scenes. So you could see the About page is part of Team Syncer now. I've updated it a whole bunch, added my pretty face in there, and then added the YouTube and LinkedIn linked, and just a little bit of what Team Syncer is about, a little bit of just inside looks of what it can do. I worked a ton. So for those new, let's cover the application, what we're building. It's a project management solution. Think of like a Jira, a Trello. I just wanted to integrate a better UI UX for Trello and Jira, and also nominally track the distance of how far a project's done or being worked on. Reason for is because I'm actually working on a project right now for a company. We're kind of having a hard time defining where a certain percentage mark of completion is. So that's where this idea actually kind of rooted from, was that opportunity. But there's a ton of stuff that's happened behind the scenes. You could see I've got my Stripe webhook. I wrestled with this thing for like 10 hours yesterday just to get it working. There wasn't a ton of information on Next.js getting the Stripe webhook working, but got it working, folks. Got it working. You know, not messing around. So when a user checks out, I could show that flow, and then we'll get back to the Kanban page because there's been a ton of updates, as you could see, with the drag and drop functionalities, which also took like 1,000 lines of code. But anyway, let me go to Stripe real quick, and this is just a dummy checkout page. Obviously, I'll doll it up and make it look a lot prettier. But I want to show you guys what it looks like in the console or in the code real quick. When we get through a Stripe checkout, I still need to do a few things with it and polish up a few tiny things. But let's see. Say console log, handler initiated, boom. Start with that, event created, event, boom. Let's see, created session. We'll pop in the session right here. And then finally, we're creating a subscription if they get through all these steps. So, or if the webhook gets fired off, we'll be able to see the subscription be generated. So I'll pull it up into, it should still working, or should still be working. Let's see, I could go const sub real quick just to put it in the console, but I'll show you guys in MongoDB that it does work. I'm really polishing this up for a reason, guys, because we are getting ready to launch the platform and start making this a real thing. So yeah, let me pop open the subscriptions in the MongoDB. Boom. So I was testing it out a ton. You can see there's 51 test subscriptions, a ton of stuff, and obviously trying to append user IDs with it, figuring out the free subscriptions and the paid subscription. So really refreshing to see that this actually worked, where users are going to get appended a free subscription initially when they sign up. And then when they go through the Stripe checkout, obviously an update to their account is going to happen. Now I still need to get their user ID into this webhook. That's kind of the last thing I need to do. And also just auto append their email here. So there's still tiny, details. And we are not going to do that today. We are going to focus on the Kanban page largely today. But for those who don't know Stripe, you could do 42424242 to do a test card. And you can see it's a beautiful kind of UI UX. I'm going to start with $18 a month or $19 a month. Reason being, I have a few people using the application now. And they are saying they would pay anywhere about 15 to 20 bucks is kind of the common answer. So we're going to start with 19 bucks a month. And I'll obviously have to limit it because I could definitely see, you know, overloading my database with way too many projects or way too many users per project or something. I'll have to figure out a few other things and add to it as time goes on. But we're going to start here. You can see on the left, some webhooks are getting fired off. There's a listener on Stripe that is going through all this. So you could see the event got created. Here's the event. You could see the session got created. And then ultimately the subscription is created if it goes through everything. And this was the biggest pain in the butt to figure out, to get the webhook secret right, to get the signature and constructing the event and get the raw body. So boom. You can see we get a thank you for subscribing. And then if we refresh this, we should see 52 subscriptions here. So let's see, boom, 52, which means it's working, which is awesome. So we should see, boom, subscription ID. We have it here in the subscription name. Here's the premium subscription. So I need to attach that to a user now. So when the subscription gets built, basically I need to already know who's clicking this. So I need to right here send in the user ID to this, or the user email, or both, probably both. And then I'm going to pre-populate the field with the user email, or I should do that. But I definitely need the user ID behind the scenes. I need to know which user is signing out at this point in time in this session. So that's kind of the bird's eye view of what I've diligently been working on. And yeah, you can see it's all coming together. There's a lot of stuff going on because, guys, I am getting ready to launch this thing, and I really want to make it proper. Obviously, there's gonna need to be a lot of checks and other things like that, and security measures, and there's a few here, which is awesome. Kind of creating this event is verifying that someone really is utilizing Stripe and my specific endpoint. So in my specific webhooks. So there's a lot of checks and stuff going on that is happening behind the scenes. But anyway, that's a little bit of Stripe. I'll still need to figure out that webhook. I'm really pumped that I made a lot of progress on that. That took a lot of wrestling. But nonetheless, I'm very, very, very excited. So you can see this page is not supposed to be accessible to the public. This sign up here page, I'm going to show you guys what I have also built just when someone lands on TeamSyncer on the landing page. I really want them to sign up initially. So let me sign out of my account. And then I have them able to click, what is this? So you can click this, boom, it should take you to the about page where you can see a little bit about me. Boom, here's me. Here's what TeamSyncer is. Here's what you can do, a little bit about it. Here's about our tech. Here's my YouTube channel. Here's my LinkedIn, just giving people that like validation that, hey, I'm a real person, and you know, this is a real product. This isn't something just to mess around with. So they could sign up there, just a giant button letting them know. Here's the next step. You can sign up with a federated identity, which is obviously the easiest thing to do. Federated identity is just a fancy word for like your Google account, your Twitter account, your Facebook account, a GitHub, or something that's already pre-established in society as verified, right? Like a Google account's a great example. But anyway, let's focus in on the Kanban page. There's a lot of work that needs to be done here, and I need to update all of the endpoints to this specific Kanban style. This took literally 1,000 lines of code. Easily 1,000 lines of code. So here's what you can do now. We can hover over. You can see you could delete column. There's all of this stuff. You can add a new column. Boom, delete it really quickly, really easily. I'll need to do the endpoints. This is all just on the front end right now. So none of it is pulling from real data. It's all just on the DOM. But I'll obviously adjust it to be able to pull on the DOM. So, or excuse me, to pull from the database. But You could easily add a new column. You could see how easily you can update it as well. And then you could also reorder them. So you could see like the little column faded behind, so you could see where you're putting it. And it's a really powerful system, I would say. So that's easy. And then obviously you could add a new task really easy. I could say this is a new task. I'll need to do some editing there. Still ironing a few things out, of course, but you can edit the task really easily as well. So I'll need to add an assignee button or some sort of thing. I'm not sure if I want to do the modal anymore. I think there's an opportunity to deprecate that and just make this a lot easier and user-friendly. So I need to get this thing back where we can close tasks and open them. And as I mentioned, figure out the assignee. But we're going to slow down on the team thing. I don't think that's going to make the first release, the teams. I think this is going to be the first release where you can manage your projects, your independent project of yourself. You're going to be able to nominally track it, I think. I'll probably do that. And then that's it. It's going to be Kanban, manage, and build projects in your tasks. But reason is, again, guys, like for anyone who's been watching the last couple episodes, it's just like it's all about ironing out and just building the best thing that I can. I don't want to build it to be this like half-assed thing where things are broken all over the place or not really thought about. I want it to be a proper experience. So it's more important for quality at this point than quantity. The thing with this tasks tracker, you could see here that you can actually drag and reorder your tasks now, and not only reorder them in your own column, but you can, or in one column, you can go to the next column, and you could reorder it there, which is really powerful. Now there's a bit of a loading state. I still haven't figured this part out where the tasks don't need to load for a second. You can see I have a little loader, and then it says ready to be dragged when it's ready to be dragged. Reason being is I have to update all the columns and the task order. So it's kind of been a different process. So I'll have to think about how to do that a little bit differently, potentially. But for now, it's a really proper system where you can easily say, okay, this is the task that I'm working on. This is Stripe webhook, and we are obviously in progress with that. So hopefully a really powerful UI UX. And then finally, the thing I do want to reintegrate is going to be that what was it? Sidebar. What was our page? The dashboard page, I believe. So I don't have it available right now. I don't have it available on the publicly released version right now. But this is going to be our dashboard where you can measure project completion again and categories. This is obviously a really bad version. Let me go back. Let me just show you a screenshot of it from, let's see what's going on here. I'm also having some sort of user session error where the user's like logged on, but sometimes it's not registered. So that's why we're seeing this layout, is because the user's not being registered that it's logged on, even though there is a user. So it's saying sign up because it doesn't think there's a user on right now. So I think it's just how I'm mounting, but there is a user, right? It is this guy right here. So I think it's how I'm mounting like the order of things. So I'll need to, let me just undo that real quick. I will need to edit that, but I really wanted today's episode to just kind of be about catching up and showing you guys. Yeah, let me just pop this in here. We'll just keep it in. And let me just take out the sign up button. Boom. So today's session was just more about showing you guys the progress that's been done. And this is going to be the project completion area where you can like measure nominally how far you've completed a project and things like that. But I do want to spend a little more time on that because I have spent a lot of time on the About page and I've spent a lot of time on this Kanban page. And I do think there's an opportunity to spend a little more time on that nominally tracking page where I really iron things out and think about things thoroughly through and through. A few more graphs, maybe a few more data visualizations, and obviously cleaning up the backlog components. So there's definitely a lot of stuff and a lot of thought and a lot of work going into this, guys. This is not like a small build. I know it's on the Kanban page, like there's a lot of people who built Kanban pages, but it's not just a Kanban page. It's a Kanban page associated to this project, associated to this user, right? Where you know, you can iterate through different projects and nominally track them as well. That's like the whole meat and potatoes of this application. So so there's going to be a lot of thought that goes into it, and like I mentioned, I think the Teams component may not make it for right now because I'm going to have to update the tasks like WebSocket style, I think, and then also they're going to have to update the tasks within a project. So I don't know. I'll have to think about it a lot more, but coming to our Lucid chart, wherever that is, let me pull it up. Sorry, guys. I know this one's not a code heavy episode. Let's see. Boom. So here is, oh, no, this is a different thing. Lucid chart, boom. Let's see. I believe it is this one. I believe I could be wrong. If not, we'll build it out right now and just kind of talk about a few things that need to happen. No, this isn't it. This is something else. Okay, so let me build a new one, or we'll go to this one. That's fine too. We'll just overwrite it. Okay, so here is our application on the front end, right? And we have our data, our API layer, so, and our database. Here's the API layer. API layer meaning just all of our hooks, all of our, you know, things, and basically out of the APIs and out of the database, there's only a few things that we have integrated right now. Right now we have a relationship between our data and our tasks. Actually, there is no relationship on the front end of this right now because of all of the movements on the Kanban page. That was a big lift. But this is ultimately how I think the data needs to be shaped roughly is tasks. Well, let's think. I think projects need to ultimately be here, right? Tasks and users belong to projects, and tasks belong to users and projects, right? Something like that. So I think this is going to be roughly the hierarchy of things. And let's think. What else do we integrate? So we do have a Redis instance. We do have that for handling notifications. Not a huge deal. We're not too overly focused on Redis right now, but we do have it just as a plush thing to easily integrate for any rate limiting or caching data, of course. And then finally, we have, I would say, a bigger part, right? And there's more to this. It's not just tasks and users. It's invitations, it's calendar events, things like that we'll also need to add from our Prisma model. And all of this is also wrapped in Prisma. So boom, it's not really just a database. It's all wrapped in Prisma, a ORM, which is awesome. And then we have our webhook. So we're going for a full-scale SaaS application, guys. We're not messing around, right? And right now we're just deployed on Vercel, but obviously after more users, we will integrate that over to AWS. But right now Vercel's fine, right? Like it's just like this was just a proof of concept initially to see if I guess technically this would probably exist more up this way towards the front end, right? Because it's kind of triggered by a front end event. So the Stripe webhook really doesn't even update the API layer. It really updates the users. But I guess pointing to the API layer is fine. And but anyway, so back to the whole project is this is our SaaS application, right? Where we're going for a full scale deal and piecing it together piece by piece. And the reason why I didn't opt for AWS in the beginning, as I mentioned, is like this was just an initial proof of concept to see if we could even get it off the ground and working and having people sign up, which is huge. The fact that there are people signed up and people have verbally said, oh, I would pay this much. That's like step 0 and 1 of building a SaaS. Really, really important to kind of get those things off the ground first to see if it's even a viable product. Because if it's not a viable product, right, you could build out everything in the world, all your Kubernetes clusters, your PM2 stuff, all your T2 micros, your Redis APIs, your Redis cache data, and if you can't get 5 people to sign up for your product, then it's not a good product. So so this is roughly, I think, going to be our initial just kind of here. Like let's see if we can get this running, which I think we are in the middle of doing, which is awesome. And then from this point forward, then we can do a lot more stuff. But if I can't make this profitable, this system alone, then it makes no sense to continue adding to it. But the good news is I do think I'll be able to make it profitable, which is awesome. So this is going to be our rough just SaaS right here, nothing too crazy. Obviously this is an oversimplification of it, but this is going to be our project management system. And then out of this too, I did think about other things I want to build. Reason being because I have friends who called me on wanting to construct SaaS platforms for them. And we're going to build, I think, more management systems out of this. I don't want to disclose it yet, but this could be a cluster of systems that play nice together potentially. So I'm very excited for what's to come down the pipeline. But before hopping to that, we need to get this ironed out proper. And I know it's a simple thing. I know it's not too crazy right now. But getting this all working good, and specifically, the UI UX where our users are happy, that's like the biggest things. That's the biggest things is something simple and working proper. And then after getting this, then we can add on the teams stuff and there's like notifications, right? Which we'll add on. Which I guess kind of exists up here. And then there's what else is there? There's going to be calendar events like meetings and timelines, right? So goals and like project completion timelines where you can kind of nominally like mark off different goals you have and like, okay, we're this far on this service, we're this far on this goal, we set out this. So I'm going to have to build a ton more stuff, but before adding an additional layer of complexity, because that's each additional abstraction adds a layer of complexity, an n plus 1 layer of complexity, meaning all of these things will have to be attached, right? So if I have timelines, that's also going to be attached to this. And it's also going to be attached to this. And it could also be attached to this, right? So it's not just adding one thing, it's actually adding three things, right? And it could even be more, because if the timelines are also attached to, for instance, the team component, I'll have to wire that up and figure that out. And potentially may not be attached to the calendar component, but the calendar component will also be attached to users. It'll also be attached to teams. So when we start building out additional abstractions, you could see how much work is going to go just building APIs between all these things. And calendar would also probably be associated to tasks. So it'd be, this would be associated to users, projects, tasks, and teams. Timelines would be associated to tasks, projects, users, and teams. Teams would be associated to tasks, projects, users, timelines, and calendars. So this would be attached to everything. And of course, all of these would be attached to notifications, all of them. So that's like 6 different APIs that I'd have to write for, or endpoints I'd have to write just for notifications. 5 for this, 5 for this, 5 for this. So that's another 20 plus endpoints or so. 21 endpoints just to handle, and maybe not endpoints, but certainly functions and other things, just to handle all these things. So that's why we're opting out to not do that right now. We definitely have ideas for it. We definitely have a lot of stuff pre-built for it and ready to go. There's timeline Kanban components. There's the page stuff, the timeline component here with a base timeline. So I'm prepped for these things, right? But as I mentioned, if I opt to build for them now, I am going to have to push out any sort of release date like another 2 to 3 months, and that is absolutely not going to happen. So we are going to push to get this thing off the ground this month. I think is the goal. Even sooner would be awesome. Like in 2 weeks would be like proper. So that's why I'm opted to strip down the application to the bare bones and the core of it. And I think this is a value add enough where I need to get this bulletproof anyways, because before adding all these abstractions, if one of these things is broken or buggy or not acting proper, it's going to be infinitely harder or significantly harder to integrate a timeline component if I don't realize the tasks are broken or something, So I'm definitely going to do that. And then I want to build this out where I have, enough tests where I can test all of our end-to-end functionality. And then, and that way, when I add additional stuff, I can see where stuff is breaking very quickly. And so that is where we are at in a nutshell. But we do have Stripe webhooks integrated, which is huge for me. I cannot believe that is actually coming together. That was huge, hugely important. So I just wanted to show you guys roughly where I am at and where the project is at. And what else could I show? I think that's it. I think that's it, folks. But a lot of progress, a lot of work behind the scenes is going on, and I'm focused largely on that. So I will get back to it. I apologize this episode wasn't code heavy, but I do want to just pop on and definitely say thank you guys for watching. And you can see all the team members. That's amazing. I just wanted to say thank you guys for watching and thank you for signing up. And this means more than you guys know. I know I kind of blasted through that with a bit of a crass tone, but at the tail end of this episode, I do want to genuinely slow down and say thank you guys so much, because I'm working really hard on this, and the fact that I've been able to grow the actual platform a little bit itself and build a bit of a YouTube channel around it means more than you guys know. So thank you guys so much, and I will keep working and see you guys on the next one. Cheers.